Good morning. On November 22nd, 2020, 27-year-old Tyler Richard Slippy's lifeless body was discovered by family members in the bedroom of his Allegheny Street apartment.
So I grabbed my things and as I was driving there, I knew something was wrong.
An autopsy later revealed that Mr. Slippy died as a result of exsanguination from 4 separate stab wounds to his neck, head, and chest. His hand also displayed deep defensive wounds, indicating that he fought his assailant for his life before succumbing to his injuries.
At that point, we had recognized that and said that whoever the perpetrator was has an injury.
Although his home showed no signs of forced entry, the crime scene located in the bedroom of the victim's apartment corroborated that a struggle occurred in the course of Mr. Slippy's murder.
Okay, today is November 22nd. It is 4:52 p.m. I am here with Kenny Kim. Is that correct?
Yes.
Kenny, you were a co-worker / friend of Mr. Slippy's. Is that correct?
Yes.
How long have you known Mr. Slippy?
The body of 27-year-old Tyler Slippy was found this past November, and it wouldn't be until weeks later that a suspect was named.
Police say he was stabbed and killed inside his apartment here on Allegheny Street. That killing motivated by jealousy.
So let's start here. Who was Tyler Slippy? What type of a man was your son?
Oh. Tyler was, he was funny. He was kind. He was so sarcastic. So sarcastic. He was genuine. He was my baby.
Your youngest.
Yeah, my youngest. You know, I have an oldest, Steven, so Steven Tyler. And Tyler would tell his friends that I actually knew Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, and that's why I named both of them that, which is so not true. He loved to make people laugh. He and his brother both. It was their life's mission to tease me relentlessly because I'm an easy target, I've been told. So yeah.
I call my brother Beaver. I don't know him as Tyler. Beaver was pretty much the most fearless dude of all time. The wildest guy ever. Not like crazy chaotic wild, just like he wouldn't say no. Me and my friends said, we're older than him, and we'd be like, when I grow up, I want to be like Beaver. Which is funny because, you know, he was probably the youngest out of the whole crew, but he was just like someone that you looked up to in a way to be yourself. He was just himself fully. And most people you meet, they latch on to like what people want you to be, and he was just like, I don't care. This is me 100%. That's what he was. That's who he is.
I just call him Slippy. Was one of the best friends I ever had. He was first and foremost probably like the funniest person on earth, the funniest person that I've ever met. Nobody could make me laugh harder than him, and he was a ridiculous human being in a good way. He was a friend to everybody that he encountered, and just one of my favorite people of all time.
He wanted to like see the world. He wanted to travel. And I don't think he ever, he always, it seemed like he went back to sales because there was money in it. He was good at it. So he would work and save up money so he could travel. And actually, before he worked at Stuckey, he was training to be a journeyman, like a journey lineman, which they travel across the country and they lay wires for cable and things like that. I don't remember how he got the job at Stuckey's. I think it was through a friend, but they treated him so well. So well. He told me about Allie. And he was always like, girls just, Mom, they're just so much work. There's just so much, they're so extra. So when he, I would ask him, well, do you like her? And he's like, yeah, I think I like her. And then one day he loved to FaceTime people. And he FaceTimed me. He's like, Mom, I want you to meet someone. And that's how we met. And then I actually met her again at work, because I would just stop sometimes on my way home, or if I was out, just to say hi. And I met her there too. We actually just met last night for dinner, and that was the first time we had met since. It was wonderful. Allie took this really, really hard. Really hard. She still can't talk about it without breaking down. She told me that she cared for him so much and that he made her laugh. But I had wanted to talk to Allie because it was so important to me for her to know that, and I don't even want to say blame, because that indicates that she had something to do with this, and she had nothing to do with this. Nothing. And the media, all the stories they wrote, they said it was a love triangle. It wasn't a love triangle. It was not a love triangle. Allie and Ken Kim never dated. Allie didn't even know that he was interested in her. They were friends. They were all friends, all three of them, Tyler, Ken, and Allie. They were all friends. It wasn't a love triangle. Makes it sound, torrid, like Tyler and Allie did something wrong. And they were just two young kids who met and were dating and having fun and enjoying each other's company.
Let me take a drink because it's hard to talk about it sometimes.
It's all right. Take your time. And if you want to stop at any time, just let me know.
So the morning of November 22nd, 2020, it was a Sunday, Steven texted me around 11:30 and said, hey, when's the last time you talked to Tyler?
I get a text from Shim. That's our friend, but they play video games together all the time. They talked every day. But I get a text from Shim, and he's like, have you talked to your brother? Because I haven't talked to him for 36 hours or 38 hours, something specific, something weird.
He hasn't heard from Tyler for 36 hours. 36 hours. I don't know. It was just such an odd number. It was so specific. That really heightened my senses. And I said, okay, I'm going to go there.
She's like, I'm going over. My mom said, I'm going over. I was like, okay. And then I put shoes on. I was like, I'm going to go over.
As I was driving there, I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what, but I knew something was wrong. And I was calling Tyler while I was driving there.
When I pulled up to his apartment, it's a minute from my house, she was outside on the balcony or the porch or whatever, and she was screaming. She was like, it's everywhere.
Transport is on the way.
When you saw him last, how was his demeanor? I mean, was he okay or?
Happy. We were laughing, joking. Yeah, there was just a normal time hanging out at a bar.
Okay. It was my understanding, I think you told me and maybe Alicia, but you guys were supposed to have a Friendsgiving gathering, the four of you, is that correct? It
Supposed to be yesterday.
was supposed to be yesterday?
Yeah, she texted me when they're on their way up at like, I don't know, 6:30, whenever it was, and she said, Tyler, I guess, isn't coming, and I said, why not? And she said he hadn't responded to her all day, and that was really weird, so I just gave her the, emoji, like, and then...
I'm screaming his name, and it was a big studio apartment, so everything was open, and his bedroom was kind of off to the right a little, and I looked around the apartment, I didn't see him, and I went into the bedroom, and I remember seeing his nightstand and his phone plugged in, and it was just perfect. Like everything was in its place right there. And I kind of got a little sense of, oh, okay. But it was a split second. And then I looked on his bed, and it was just, it had what I thought was red paint on it. And then I looked to the floor, and I saw what I thought was a red comforter. And it was Tyler. And I stood there for what seemed like so long, and I called his name out, and then I knelt down, and I tried to wake him up, and when I touched him, he was cold. He was so cold and stiff. And I remember thinking, and I beat myself up for this for so long. I remember being repulsed from what I saw. Like I wanted to just pick him up and hug him, but I couldn't. I knelt down and I was whispering to him, like, Tyler, wake up, come on. And I opened his eyes. I don't know why I did that, but he did. His leg, it must have been his left leg, had a huge cut on it. Like a really long cut. And then Stephen came, and Stephen didn't want to go in. And I said, you have to go, because you have to chat. Like I thought I was something, I wasn't seeing something.
Like I don't even remember running up the stairs, but I was in the apartment. At some point, I was just in there, and she's like, he's in his room, like, wake him up, or something like that. I don't know. I was just like there. I was just standing in his door, and I didn't even step in. I just looked in the room, and it was like any scary movie that you've ever seen, like any horror film. It's like you can't, like 50 times that. Like from wall to wall, it was just blood on the floor. Like they couldn't even show it in a theater. Like they would cut that scene out. It was too brutal. And I just looked at my brother laying on the floor, and I just stared at him. I was just like, oh my God. Like, what am I looking at?
And then the paramedics got there, and they made us leave. And I kept trying to go back in, and they wouldn't let me. And I think I was trying to go back in because I wanted to hold him one last time. And I kept trying, and they wouldn't let me. But the EMTs were so cold, they wouldn't even look at me. And then Rod Estep got there. He was the chief of police. And I remember I heard him say to them, haven't you talked to her? Have you talked to her yet? And he knelt down. I was on the porch just in a ball, and he knelt down to me and looked me in the eye. But he told me that, he was going to do everything he could to help me and to make this right.
When we were talking, I noticed on your left middle finger you have a cut, but it looks like it was stitches. How long ago was that? How's that from?
About a month ago.
What was that from?
That was blender blade, and that was dishwasher knife sticking up.
I got myself there to there one time washing a dish, and I was turning and hacked it. So did you say you got 2 sets of stitches on your hand?
Yeah, a couple stitches.
You should have seen this one on Saturday. It needs stitches too, but I didn't go.
What'd you do?
I was cleaning a kitchen knife with one of them scrubber things. Being an idiot, cleaning one side, turn the light over towards me, clean the other side.
Hollidaysburg police found the body of 27-year-old Tyler Slippy in an apartment on Allegheny Street. Slippy died from stab wounds to the neck, chest, and head. Over the next 6 weeks, police interviewed more than 25 people, including Slippy's co-worker, Kenneth Kim.
Officers noticed that one of the victim's colleagues and acquaintances bore a cut on his hand. In looking back at the prior interview with the same individual, police realized that he had kept his hand concealed underneath the table the entire time.
When we have injuries that are probably occurred from a knife wound of some type, we always look at the deceased to see if he was defending himself at all. And so on the hands, there's numerous places where he would have put his hand up to try to defend himself, and there was lacerations to the fingers and the hand. So that was one of the telltale signs. Also that he had some stab wounds in the front and in the back as well. So he was either trying to move or get away, and the perpetrator continued to stab him in the back.
So the funeral, it was during COVID, peak of COVID. And there were so many people, so many people. Everyone from all of the Stuckey stores came to pay their respects. And one of those people was Kenny Kim, who came and he hugged me. Yeah.
Alicia had driven past his apartment and saw all the officers there, and that's when she called Elena. And then me and Elena drove down and met Alicia at the Rudders, and that's when we drove over to his apartment, and that's when I came up to you folks.
One thing I will ask, and we're asking of everyone that we interview, I'd like to take a buccal swab from you of your DNA. It's basically what they call for elimination purposes, if we would find DNA other than
We know
Mr.
you were
Slippy.
in the house, and if
We know you were in there, so I'd ask if you could let me get a buccal swab of your DNA, if you're okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Kim reportedly told officers that cut happened a month before the homicide while he was unloading a kitchen knife from his dishwasher. However, investigators say medical records show Kim received treatment for the cut just hours after Slippy's murder. It was then a close friend of Kim's that lives in another state called police, saying Kim confessed that he broke into Slippy's apartment after memorizing the passcode lock. They also found that Kim had a romantic interest in a female coworker who was in a relationship with the victim at the time. That was enough information for police to get search warrants.
However, in the course of executing the search warrant, the suspect stole a vehicle from his employer, fled from police in Blair County, and drove to a hotel rather than his home in Cambria County, where he took his own life after being located by law enforcement.
Blair County District Attorney Pete Weeks says had Kim not taken his own life, an arrest would have been authorized on charges of first-degree murder.
After Tyler passed, I had so many of his friends send me messages about him, just talking about him, and so I wanted to read you. I wanted to share some of those with you. He was pretty much a celebrity in our dorm room that year. He knew everyone and treated everyone with the same amount of respect and love. He was so good about empowering others and encouraging them to be however they wanted. I was a bit reserved then, but Tyler's crazy energy always brought me up. So grateful for the memories we made together. He was such a wonderful guy. Work will never be the same without him. He was one of a kind. I'm the mother of 2 boys myself. And if either of my boys could have even half of the personality, heart, and sense of humor that Tyler did, I'd be happy. Tyler was so fun and full of life, and we went on so many small adventures. He was a great person. I had the honor of getting to grow up with your son and spend a ton of time with him throughout the years. He was one of a kind, and you did a phenomenal job raising such an incredible person. Tyler was such a sweet soul, and anytime I was with him, we always had the same connection we did when we first met in 5th grade. No matter where either of us were, we always knew that we were close. He could always make me laugh, and I had the best time when I saw him. I loved him so much, and he loved everyone. He was, it's funny. No, I don't know if funny's the right word. I knew that he was this great person. He's my son, of course I knew, but I never had these perspectives until after. And I've learned so much about him. That I wish I would have known before. You know how kids are so much more reserved with their parents, especially their moms. But I feel like I've gotten to know him so much better now than I did when he was alive.
He was just always so happy and just made everybody laugh and love life. And he loved life, and he just brought, again, so much joy to all of us. And I will be always grateful that he was such a good friend to my son.
But, hey, Mom, while we're at it, and I'm screaming, we're all here from Tyler Slippy. He's the best friend we could have ever fucking asked for. Funniest, cutest, little sweetest boy ever. I would have married him if I could have. And hey, there's good ships and there's wood ships and there's ships that sail the sea. And the best ships are friendships, and may they always be, eh? Absolutely. Hey! Here we go.